Well, hello, welcome to the new video, and this is a very exciting time of the year because it's the new 5 Series that has arrived. And this new 5 Series, it sort of reminds me, particularly from the front, the E60, the design of Chris Bangle, which wasn't very successful at the beginning, but over time it proved to be sort of timeless. So yeah, these new front lights really remind me of that. And of course, another thing that is new, you have much bigger grille, which of course you can have underlighted here, which is very nice. Of course, the car is very aerodynamic with a drag coefficient of 0.23. Now let's go around the car. In terms of wheels, you can get from 18 up to 21-inch wheels. With the petrol diesel variant, you can get up to 20-inch. 21-inch is only for the electric car, as this i5 M60. In terms of sizes, the car has grown, but not so much. So it now measures 5 meters. It's 5 meters long, 1.9 meters wide, 1.5 meters tall, and the wheelbase has now gone up by 2 centimeters to 2.9 meters. So yeah, we also have the Hofmeister end of the windows, which now has this sort of huge plastic with the 5 embedded in it. So yeah, and I think the best looking angle of the car is the rear and the rear quarter view. So we have this flat long light, which is kind of sharp on the edges. It looks very sporty. The BMW 5 Series is always a sharper, more sportier than the Mercedes E-Class. Now let's have a look into the boot of the car, which I checked the petrol variant. It went down by 10 liters to 520 liters in this sedan model. Yeah, but it's long enough. It looks big enough even in this electric model. So yeah, let's now have a look what this new wheelbase did, if it did any improvement. So yeah, well, as you might expect, 2 centimeters is not a huge amount of space, but still, the 5 Series has a reasonable amount of space in the back. You have really good space for your feet, really good space in terms of knee room, which is great, and also for the headroom, even though we have panorama here. So that's really good. In terms of comfort in the back, you have 4 connectors for charging your device, 2 USB connectors on the rear of the front seats, 2 USB-C connectors here on the central console. You have touch capacitive display for setting the air conditioning. You have air vents, and of course an armrest with cup holders, which is great. And also all these curtains for privacy. And the interesting thing is that you also have it on the second part of the rear window, so you have a total privacy here. And of course, in this top spec, also a Bowers Wilking surround sound system, which is great. Well, now normally what we would do, we would look at the business end of the car, which is the engine. But as this car has 2 electric motors, we don't need to. And let's just take it for a drive, because that's what the 5 Series always was and always will be about. Well, welcome to the interior of the new BMW i5, but also 5 Series. And so what has changed in the interior is that it got completely minimalist. So we have everything. We are manipulating everything in this screen ahead of me, in this huge screen ahead of me. Is also curved. We have just some minor controls here on the dash, like what is this? I'm not exactly sure even what this is. Probably this slider is maybe for ventilation. We have these rubber knobs here to manipulate the airflow of the ventilation. On the left side, you also manipulate by touch the lights. Here you have the sitting position that you can set and save. And we have loads of carbon, as is the M car. We have these crystal clarity dials here, which are actually pretty cool. So you have it on the modes, mode selector, xDrive, and the volume control. So Yeah, it's very nice, and it's all very well, extremely well put together. You have this typical German great sturdy feeling of the interior, so that is a good thing. In terms of sitting position, let me start the car. It is, as expected, very low, which is a great thing. So there is also a huge amount of adjustability for the driver, and the driver holds quite a fixed BMW M steering wheel, where you also have in this E5 M60 you have this boost paddle to give you even more performance than the 600 horsepower that you get standard. So that's really crazy. But anyway, what this car is about is the driving, so let's head off and let's drive the i5 M60. Well, so welcome on board the BMW 5 Series. So the car we have for driving is the top of the range model i5 M60, and now this car, maybe for the comparison with the predecessor, is maybe not the most righteous thing, because it's an all new concept. Having all electric 5 Series, it's much heavier, although the main aspects of the 5 Series are still here. The car is still, even in sports mode, it is very reasonably comfortable. It is very quiet inside, and it is very refined how it drives. The one thing I like is that they still kept the double wishbone suspension and the multi-link, so the suspension setup is really good for handling. The steering, well, we have four-wheel steering as well, so it feels like there would be a little bit of a delay, but it is very naturally weighted, very precise, extremely precise actually. So that is a great thing. And the thing that I'm absolutely mesmerized with is that how this 2-ton car keeps its composure and controls its body when you're cornering, when you're changing directions. It doesn't even lean, this car, probably because it also has active anti-roll bars, but it's just absolutely amazing how it hides these 2 tons. It feels like I'm driving 1.3, 1.4 ton car. It's absolutely amazing. So yeah, and then there is the power. Well, this top of the range electric car has 600 horsepower, and you can get even more when you press this boost button. Now I have it for 10 seconds, and it just goes goes like thing, 0 to 100 in 3.4 seconds. Absolutely amazing. Although with this amount of power you would maybe like to go 300 kilometers on the autobahn, but this can do only 230 kilometers. It's limited to 230 kilometers, so that might be a little bit of a downside of the electric powertrain. But yeah, it's definitely still a 5 Series, even with electric engines, electric motors. So yeah, and the driving, well, it's very refined. It's extremely quiet here. You can whisper, so it's absolutely amazing. You also have this Bowers and Wilkins stereo, which is absolutely amazing, combined with this quietness. And the ride, even though you have a very nicely controlled damping and quite a stiff car, but it's still very comfortable. There is still a bit of softness on top of this rigidity of the chassis. So I really do like it, because the 5 Series is about refinedness. It is about countless kilometers driven in a very quiet and calm fashion. And then when you want to drive, you want to be able to drive the car actually and have a smile on your face from driving it. And that is what I have to say, this new 5 Series still delivers, even though it got, well, in this spec, heavier, and it got a different sort of powertrain because it's all electric, but it still delivers. So yeah, that would be my first impression to the new 5 Series. Of course, more we would know from a normal test about the range and stuff, but it's still a great car, and it's still a proper 5 Series. So that's what's the most important. So that would be it. Keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos with new cars coming soon, and I'll see you in the very next one. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.